Hello, welcome. Last week in my video on the Angelina River canoe trip, I pointed out my camping chuck box. Today what I want to do is go over how I built it and everything I've got in it. I want to start first with the dimensions. I had to build it big enough, obviously, to hold all of this that you see here. What you see here is everything you need for 12 people. Stove, fuel, pots, pans, cooking utensils, cutlery, cutting boards, paper towels, lanterns, tarps, cups, plates, bowls, silverware, everything. So all I have to do when I go camping is grab this box and go. It's all ready. The other main driver in determining the dimensions of the box was how it fit in my canoe. I wanted the length to be short enough where I could slide it down in here and leave a little bit of gaps on the sides so that I could easily reach down and grab these handles, and so that I could tuck the handles down in there so they don't snag as we're going downriver. So I ended up with 28 inches long right here. I also wanted it to be able to fit between two thwarts. You can see there's quite a bit of room here. So I ended up with 15.5 inches deep right here. And I wanted it tall enough where it would catch on the thwarts and it wouldn't slide under them, but not too much taller than the sides of the canoe. I ended up with 14.5 inches tall. So 28 inches long, 15.5 inches deep, 14.5 inches tall. As for the handles, this is one continuous loop of nylon. It goes down the sides, underneath, back up the side, around this handle, and then back down this side, underneath, and back through here. So it supports the whole box from the bottom when you're carrying it. These handles themselves are just pieces of PVC with black batting tape to make the grip a little more secure. For the lid, I have the same thing. I've got nylon straps. They've been screwed on this side and screwed on this side. They meet in the middle with this buckle, and then you just pull them tight to cinch the lid down. You might notice that I've got the opening facing up, and that is because I didn't want the opening down in the bottom of the canoe where it gets wet. I also wanted to be able to, if we were stopped on the river, say for lunch, and we needed to get into this, I wanted it to open up and we can easily reach in there and get whatever we need. Alright, now that you've seen the dimensions, I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up and show you how it works and show you everything in it. Right now you can see it's actually on its side. It doesn't transport that way. Like I said, it transports with the opening up. But it's meant to work on its side. So it's on its side. All I have to do is remove these two straps to keep the door open. And the door folds down, and I've got these straps here that make this working area or working surface. So this is designed to kind of work on the end of a table, and then you can use the stove to cook right here and use this as a work area. What I'm going to do is bring you in a little bit closer, and then I'll show you. I'll just start from the bottom and work my way up. I'll show you everything that's in here. So the first thing I'm going to pull out is this kind of extra long spatula I've got. This is good for cooking burgers over a grill or a fire. Then what I've got here is essentially like a tool roll, but it's got all my cooking utensils and cutlery. So it just rolls out like this, and then you can see I've got, a can opener, some spoons, a ladle, spatulas, a pair of scissors, and a couple of knives. What I really like about this is it's just wide enough where it can clip right here to these straps, and it hangs here kind of conveniently out of the way, and this flap protects it from the elements. Over here on this side I have a little bag with some bungee straps in it, a roll of paper towels. I just, every time I get back from camping, whatever paper towels are left, I take those in the house and use those, and then I put a brand new roll in here so that it's ready for the next time I go. I also keep a little folding saw in here. This is just kind of a pretty inexpensive one. I got it at Home Depot. It's a Corona. This has really good reviews. And then a little eschewing small camp hatchet. And then over here I've got my cooking pots and pans. This is actually two pots, one nested inside the other. So I've got the bigger one. This is just a little flat cutting board, and then inside the bigger one I've got a smaller pot. Inside this pot, this is actually a setup for 4 people, so I've got everything you need in here for 4 people. That I can do in a separate video in itself, so I'm not going to cover everything in there right now. But suffice it to say that these 2 pots are what I use for this kit. And then I've got a Coleman Fold and Go propane stove. And this is pretty slick. As you can see, it's pretty compact. It folds open, make a full-size stove. What I keep in here are a couple of little fire sticks. This is the attachment for the propane, so this attaches right here, and then you just attach a propane bottle right there. And then I have some matches in this little case and a lighter, so that gives me, in case one of my little clickers fails, I still can light the stove with either matches or a lighter. And then these grill plates, they're upside down. That's how they store and travel. They flip over and go in like that, and now you have just basically a regular functioning propane stove. Pots and pans go on top right there. And so you can see how if this was on the end of a table, you pretty much got a setup where you can do all your cooking right here on the stove. You got all your cooking utensils right here handy, and then everything else you need, pots, pans, whatever you have, plates, cups, bowls, all that is up here. Alright, in this upper section, it's kind of divided into three sections. There's this main compartment, and then there's two smaller ones over here. So I'm just going to cover what I have over here first. I have these little Radiovac Sportsman battery-operated lanterns, LED lanterns. These, what I like about these is they use D batteries, which last forever with these LED lights. But what I really like about them is I can take this globe off like that. Then they have a little hook in the bottom, and so I can hang them like under the tarp. I'll hang them on the ridge line, and it's like a light over the entire kitchen. Or in the tent. Normally tents have a little hook in the very center of the tent. I'll hang it there, and we get up in the morning to start getting dressed. I just turn the light on, and we don't have to use our headlamps. It's really really convenient. It's kind of like having a light in a house. So I really like those. I've got two of those in here, one for the tent and one for the tarp. This is a little wine goblet that my sister bought for my wife. My wife's a wine drinker, but the stem kind of fits inside there, and you pull it out and screw it on like this, and then you have a wine goblet. These are GSI cups. I bought these because they're small, they're plastic, they float, they're durable, and I found them on sale. So I've got 12 of those. And I've got a can of off. I've got 12 GSI bowls. And then this is the bottom half of a bucket, which serves two purposes. One is it keeps these plates in place, keeps them from flying all around. It also serves as a wash bin. You can see that the plates fit in there, so if I wanted to put some water in here to rinse dishes with, then I can use this as a wash bin. I have 12 plates in here. If you look, I'm from Texas. I found these at the dollar store. I thought they were perfect. Got the little Texas there and some stars and bucking Broncos. Then I've got a cutting board. This is a pretty thick wood cutting board. I like something a little more substantial than those thin little plastic ones to cut on. And then lastly in here I have, well, let me take this out first. This is a griddle, just fits on the stove for cooking lots of whatever, eggs, bacon, pancakes. And then what I've got here is a 12 cup percolator, and I'll open it up and kind of show you, but if you look in there, there's a bunch of stuff in there. Essentially what I've got in there is one of those little tiny backpacking stoves and a 220 gram, these are some sweeteners, and a 220 gram fuel container. So this actually is kind of self-contained. I can use the stove, this little stove, to cook the coffee while I'm using the big stove to cook other stuff, and that way I don't have to take up one of the burners on the big stove for coffee. Alright, over here on this side I've got two compartments. I've got this lower compartment, which is kind of like a drawer, and then I've got this upper one. So I'm going to go over what I have here. If I pull this out, you'll see that it kind of works like a drawer. And this is a restaurant like warming dish. It's called, this is a half size, I think is what it's called. You can get this at a restaurant supply store, or I think even on Amazon. And what I keep in here is a pair of leather gloves for just working around camp. I got a Sharpie for marking plastic water bottles or cups or whatever. A little bottle of hand sanitizer. And then I've got a little bottle of dishwashing liquid, a little scrub pad. Got some salt and pepper in here, an electrical splitter, so if I'm at a campsite and I need to, there's an outlet and I want to split so I can charge multiple things, for example, I bring that along. A little bar of soap, and then I've got 3 pieces of cordage for making clotheslines or extra cordage for stringing up the tarp, whatever. And I've got a couple of dish towels, a couple of Ziploc bags, and a couple of trash bags, and then 2 propane containers. The reason I'm using this metal container is because I wanted to be able to use it also as a dish pan for washing dishes, but I wanted to be able to put it either over the stove or over a fire to heat the water if instead of heating it in the pan and then pouring it in here. So that's why I used a metal one. And then on either side of this, I have these hot dog marshmallow skewers. They're extendable or collapsible. So I got these at REI. I have 4 of these, 2 on each side of the pan. So they just fit right in here on the edge. In this last little section up here, I've got a SOG folding shovel. So this is just one of those little shovels that folds up into 3 pieces. You tighten it all up and you can use it as a shovel. That's mainly for if we need to dig a cat hole for any reason, like if we're canoeing and there aren't any restrooms. I've got a roll of toilet paper I keep in a Ziploc bag. This is a sill nylon tarp. This is a 10 by 12, and I've got some stakes in here with it and a variety of lines for stringing it up. I like to keep a tarp over camp, over the table, the picnic table, the camp kitchen, whatever, mainly because most mornings you wake up and everything's covered in dew if you don't. I've got a little like miniature broom here for sweeping out the tent. And then I've got this Plano 3500 tackle box with my silverware. So in here I've got butter knives, spoons, and forks, and I've got 12 of each. I just bought these. They're just cheapies that I bought at the dollar store, but they all fit in here quite nicely. And this keeps them kind of contained and clean inside this little case. Okay, that covers how I built the box and all the contents that are in there. Now what I want to do is talk a little bit about all the stickers. This started off pretty simply. I just made a list of about 25 or 30 companies, outdoor companies, of products that we own and use, and sent them an email asking for stickers. And I got a pretty good response on that, and then it became an obsession. So I started just making a bigger and bigger list, sending more and more emails, and for companies that wouldn't send them, I would go buy the stickers or I'd track them down, and eventually it ended up with right around 80 stickers, and then it turned into an art project with my 2 daughters. I just had them decide how they wanted to lay this thing out. So anyway, I think it turned out pretty neat. It certainly adds a lot of character to the box, makes it a little more fun. And that's a wrap. I hope you found this informative and helpful. I wish you good luck in putting together your own camping chuck box.